And it is true that when you're in alpha, your brain is getting the most nutrition because it's got the most optimum blood flow to the brain and then the most optimum brain fluid, spinal fluid flow to get toxins out and nutrients in. So alpha is very, very good. That's a calm, relaxed state. I don't want to make any more of this video because for one, it's too long. Two, I already made it and I didn't like it, so I'm trying to make it again. And I'm just not feeling it. I don't want to say it again. I don't want to repeat it. Isn't that weird? But I'm not willing to sit here and repeat myself. Now all I want to do is go outside and take a walk. I find it very interesting that when I was just making that other video, I don't know what it was, but I just had a meltdown, just out of the blue. Like, I'm not really sure why, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with not really knowing. But I think it was because my voice was stressing me out. And that's why I'm committed to ASMR and learning how to make ASMR. It's for my own selfish reasons. Because if I can talk in a very calming, slow voice, not rushed, remaining in alpha, I think that then I will get less upset. Because the problem is, if I talk in a frenzy, it's kind of like it's a self-perpetuating loop, and it makes me afraid that the listener won't get it. So then I'll say it again. And then I'm afraid that the listener won't understand what I'm trying to say, because this happened to me before. That's what happens when you're scientific and you hang around people that aren't. They never understand me, so I keep wanting to explain myself. And the more I try to explain myself, the less they care, and the more they don't want to listen. So I have to learn how to talk faster so I can get more in. And all of these things that are sort of like the Aspie past, the combination of all the bullying and the not being heard, all that comes up when I start talking and making videos. And I know I have something valuable to share to a small niche of people. And if it's not you, that's totally okay. I have to learn that that's okay. But I wanted to videotape myself and talk about this meltdown that I just had. What happened was I made a video about wavelengths. I didn't really plan it, but I was like, I'm too lazy to plan it. I have notes. I'm just going to wing it. So I started sharing my thoughts about, that you should train in all the different brain waves. The main thing is to learn coherence in all of them so that you could have them all at your facility and have a full human life with the maximum productivity. And then I finished the video and I kind of watched different parts of it, and I was like, wow, the whole thing was one big tangent. Just one tangent after another, and I never really stayed on my original goal of what I wanted to say. And that's always seems to happen with me. I can never stay on what I want to say, and I keep going off because I keep thinking that the tangents are more important than the original. In the moment, this tangent is crucial. If I don't address it now, I'll never hear it again. I'm afraid of that. And all my life, that's why I'm kind of like obsessive about my journal, because if I don't write it down, I'll forget it, which is true. If I don't write it down, I will forget it. So I'm always writing in my journal, and I think that people hate me for that. And when other people hate me for something, I hate myself for it. Because I realize that when I do that, when I do something that other people hate, I'm causing them to feel hatred, which is hurting the universe. Because what we want to do is we want to lessen suffering, not make more suffering. So I lost my pen. See, I'm so obsessive that I have to have my pen and my journal handy, or I'll have a meltdown. That's not why I had a meltdown. Why I had a meltdown was because I resorted, just like I'm starting to do now, into my fast talking mode, which caused me to feel stressed. And then I was repeating then I redid the video because I said, okay, now I'm going to do the same thing but talk slower. And I lost complete passion. I had no passion for what I was saying because I had already said it. So why would I want to repeat myself? It was kind of like this kind of crazy, unlogical baby in my head saying, I don't want to do this, and I felt like no matter how many times I did it over, it was going to be bad, because I was going off in tangents again the second time I did the video. So I was just feeling really bad. So I said, I don't want to make this video, and I turned it off. And then when I went in the kitchen, I was going to change my shirt or something, I forgot, but I just said, I feel really, really, really bad. Why do I feel bad? I don't know. And I just allowed myself to cry, because I'm here alone. Of course, if people were around, I wouldn't have done this, because it would have made them uncomfortable. But I allowed myself to cry just for about a minute, and tried to just feel whatever it was. And then I stopped crying and kind of realized, I think this is why I'm crying. I'm just frustrated that I'll never be able to do ASMR videos. That was my, conversation. Now, I think I'm physically able, because like right now, I'm going to talk real slow and soft, okay? So I just did it properly. But no matter what happens, I always seem to get faster and faster and louder. So I was feeling very frustrated, like it was going to take forever. See, I'm going faster now. And I have not taken my medicine today, so it's possible that I may just have to be medicated on CBD, because that does tend to calm me down and sort of chill, It's just that when I'm not on CBD, I'm so energetic. I kind of like that. But then when I start talking, then my voice hurts my head, and it kind of it's like hearing a fingernail on a blackboard, and I don't like that. And then when I talk soft, I can't remember to keep talking soft while I'm trying to share my point, because when you share your point, you want to be involved in the point, and you have passion, and then the voice gets louder, and then blah, 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 and then you're hurting your brain. Well, that said, this is my go-to for when I have raised cortisol. It turns out that my liver, and this is not any doctor's words, these are my words. My liver is very slow to remove toxins. And if you read anything by Peter D'Adamo, Peter D''A''Adamo, D'Adamo, he talks about epigenetics and all the different human epigenetic types. And I'm an explorer. He has a meme for each of 5 types. There's a teacher, a hunter, a gatherer, something else, and then the explorer. And I'm the one that's the most reactive and the most sensitive to toxins, to sounds, to everything. And I can't seem to get rid of toxins in my body because my liver P450 enzyme system is slow. So when I get upset and I have a high level of cortisol, which gives me a meltdown, crying gets rid of some of the cortisol, because tears are very high in cortisol, and so it helps you get rid of cortisol. That's why crying's so good. But Tulsi tea has been shown to lower cortisol levels. I don't really know how. Does it bind to it and then take it to the urine? Take it out through the urine? I don't know. But I just know that, there's not much literature that I can find on it. It's probably in Japanese or something. But it does calm me down, whereas the only other thing that calms me down is sleeping. Otherwise, if I have some kind of a stressful event, I'll just stay stressed. The cortisol just stays in my blood because the P450 enzyme system just sort of keeps it there. And did you know that marijuana causes the P450 enzyme system to be even less active? So if you're taking a drug and you're smoking marijuana, you want to take less of that drug, because your liver is getting rid of it more slowly, which can be a good thing if you don't want to take a lot of expensive drugs, but it's a bad thing if you have toxins in your system that you want to get rid of. The pot slows that process down. And I've done a lot of research on cannabis since it's becoming legal everywhere. I was thinking about maybe being a research scientist in the area. I actually already am on my own, private consulting, but I'm not being paid a salary or anything. So I'm going to make some Tulsi tea and drink it. And it will help remove some of the cortisol that built up during that meltdown. And if you're I'm not sure how I'm going to edit this, but if you're thinking that that meltdown was so nothing, like why would something like that get you upset? I can understand why you would say that, because like other people are dealing with bullets and, you know, war and, you know, like frantic fighting. Well, I had all that when I was growing up. Not war, but I had a bunch of fighting and screaming and hitting and violence all around me. And so, you know, I do have PTSD from that. That'll probably never go away unless I do DMT, which I'm not able to do because it's not legal and you can't go to a clinic and do it safely in America. But, so in the meantime, you know, I'm going to be hyperreactive to things. And the fact that I'm an Aspie also makes me hyperreactive anyway and have meltdowns at the drop of a hat. So you may think that's not very much to have a meltdown for, but I'm telling you that if it made me cry, that's pretty much over the edge. You know, like, even though it's not consequential in any way, shape, or form, but it's consequential to my, you know, like, ego or my little girl self. You know, my little girl self felt self-hatred and hopelessness and that nobody would ever like me. That's always what my pattern is. And that life is just hopeless and I'll never. It's like, I'll never do this, I'll never do that. Oh no, that's my little voice. And maybe it'll always be there. But I can treat it as a delusion, which it is. And the delusion is still going to upset your biochemistry. Even though you know it's a delusion, that doesn't change the fact that it makes you upset, right? And so we have to sometimes learn about ourselves, study ourselves. I studied Peter D'Adamo's work, and Peter helped me, Dr. D'Adamo helped me understand that my P450 enzyme is so slow that I need cortisol removal to be done manually with Tulsi tea. Or sleep. But I've already slept. I'm not sleepy. So this is the best solution for me. If you have a meltdown, I encourage you to catch it before it happens. Excuse yourself with a fake smile and say Mother Nature's calling, and then go to the restroom. I'm imagining when I was working in a cubicle corporate job, that's what I would have done. I would have gotten up and gone to the ladies' room and then silently cry behind the stall for a minute or however long it takes. One time it was so bad that I probably cried for 1 full hour. And I might have ended up having broken blood vessels in my eyes too. But crying is really therapeutic. And if your body needs to cry, I would say go for it, you know. Sometimes when I cry, you know, you women might care about this. I put my finger here to hold that skin so that even though the frown muscle activates when you cry, which it has to, that's part of the crying process, you have to tense that muscle and feel the sadness, you know. But if you hold your finger there, it prevents the skin from developing that deep crease. And I'm hoping that helps. Another thing I do is at night, you women might want to do this, I put a little piece of silicone scar tape over my, where the crease would be. And I noticed that if I have a bad dream and frown a lot at night, it prevents the crease from forming. But if I don't put it there and I have a bad dream and wake up, I always know when I have bad dreams because I'll have a big crease in my forehead. And I just don't like that. And then during the day I try to consciously not frown. It's kind of like trying to consciously be calm. You know, I want to consciously not frown. I don't want to have to wear tape during the day. I would much rather just notice when I'm frowning and then tap it, you know, and then not frown. You know, this is very self-soothing. And it just makes me kind of chill and feel really good. Kind of like there's no rush. There's no rush. Everything's okay. It's all gonna be okay. You're okay. Everyone's okay. We all have our lessons to learn in this life.